friends, it's Kim from Tim and Cad. Thanks so much for watching our video so far. We started a YouTube channel just putting up things from our phone, really. Some of you have seen like drinks that are on fire. Some of you have seen some of the curtain calls that we've done, maybe some of the Christmas things like the share video. Actually, a lot of you watched the share video. So I wanted to start doing some live videos, and the first one I wanted to do was a Broadway review. I love Broadway. We go to lots of shows in the city and things that are off Broadway and other types of shows as well, and kind of like to support live music and performance. Um, but the thing I've been excited about for a while is something they announced on October 31st of last year, that Sweeney Todd was going to have Aaron Tveit and Sutton Foster step in. So we know that Josh Groban and Annalee Ashford left in mid-January. We saw them last spring and they were terrific. We saw the entire original Broadway cast, minus Jordan Fisher, who was out that night, and we loved everything about it. But we happened to have tickets to go last night. And again, something we've been waiting months for. So this review is going to be just my opinions of things and maybe answer some of the questions you've had online. So, should you attend The Tale of Sweeney Todd, starring Sutton Foster and Aaron Tveit? Let's find out. The first thing everyone has been talking about is, was this miscast? She's one of my favorite Broadway stars. She has like this sort of famed story as being the understudy in Thoroughly Modern Millie, and then the producers sort of infamously and famously put her in as the lead, and then she ended up winning a Tony. She's been in things like Younger with Hilary Duff. She's been in Bunheads. She's had a little bit of a role in Gilmore Girls, so you might know her from those things. She's a dancer, a singer, an actress. One thing to note about Sutton Foster's performance this week has nothing to do with Sweeney Todd at all. But we were able to go see her in the last performance of Once Upon a Mattress at the New York City Center. And that actually took place on Sunday, February 4th. So from the 4th, she ended her 2-week run. Although it wasn't a full Broadway production, it was still a full show as the princess in Once Upon a Mattress. And then by Friday the 9th, she was fully in Sweeney Todd. So that alone should win her awards because I literally don't know how she does it. So like I said, I'm a Sutton Foster fan, but I do have various degrees of opinions. I'm not just going to fangirl and just like it just because it's her. One thing I went to recently was Stephen Schwartz's 75th birthday sort of gala at the Met. It had lots of performers coming to sing his songs from over the years. Sutton opened the second act of the show, and it was a little bit of a letdown. And we were thinking like she was going to be one of the star performers at the show. She's opening the second act, and it kind of fell flat. And all that to say, I don't think she's perfect in everything she does. But let's get to Sweeney Todd. So as Miss Lovett, the sort of murderous pie maker of Sweeney Todd, I think Sutton Foster does an excellent job. She can sing, she can act, and she does a lot of comedy and physical comedy. I think some people have said online, like it took her a minute to get into it. And I think probably that's true. But also just knowing the way the show goes, some of the more comedic things come later. So some of the funnier parts are in A Little Priest, which happens, of course, at the end of Act 1, and then By the Sea, which is the end of Act 2. So I do wonder, like, is it that she had to get into it a little bit, or is it that some of the things just like lend itself to more comedy and whatnot later? So I think Sutton Foster really plays up the comedy in this. Obviously, in The Worst Pies in London, it starts off. Later in Pirelli's Miracle Elixir, she's also doing like some really funny things off to the side of the stage. So if you happen to like catch her and watch her, I would recommend it. Even if she's like not the main person singing. And then later in By the Sea, like it just goes over the top. I found it really funny. The audience was laughing really hard. I think some people might see it as a turnoff if you don't like the like over the top physical comedy. But I think it's something that she does really well and that it added to the role as opposed to detracted from it. So, Aaron Tveit. So, not gonna lie, he's one of my favorite actors. I do love Moulin Rouge. I've seen it like multiple times in the city. Also, I've seen it in London. I've seen it touring. Um, Here's a picture of me with Aaron Tveit at the stage door back before COVID happened. And I've seen the show many times with Derek Klena, with Casey Cott. I've seen it with Titus Burgess and have yet to see it with Boy George. So hopefully that will happen soon. So let's just talk Aaron Tveit. First of all, yes, he is not a baritone, but he brings a lot to the character. I think his acting is amazing. I think he finds that like tortured soul, almost sort of like in Moulin Rouge, back with Crazy Rolling or with Roxanne. And the makeup and everything else kind of just adds to it. And of course, the music of Stephen Sondheim just puts it all together. So I know I said this is going to be about Aaron and Sutton, and some of you are probably wondering about how Joe Locke was. He was really good. Like I said, when we saw it first with the original Broadway cast, it was Gayton from Stranger Things, who was also good. But Joe Locke played Tobias really well. A lot of you know him from TV and things. So you'll be pleasantly surprised if you go see him. So a surprise last night was that Alex Lacamoire was conducting again. When we saw it last year with Josh and Anna Lee, he was conducting for several weeks when it first opened, and then passed his baton on to another conductor who led the orchestra. And it was nice to see Alex back in. So hopefully he'll be in for a little bit as this transition happens. And so some of you that have tickets soon, maybe we'll get to see him conduct too, and that's always a nice thing. The last thing I want to mention is the ensemble. Again, I'm not really reviewing the entire show because it's not new, but they just need a shout out because they're so good. I mean, it's just from the opening note to the end, they add so much and do it in such like a subtle way. Not that their singing is subtle by any means, but the way everything is staged and the way there's sometimes just a few of them off to the side or on the staircase singing. Everything they do really adds to it. And sometimes in Broadway shows, the ensemble is sort of secondary or doesn't really add a lot. And in this case, it really like rounds out the tone of everything going on and helps move the story. So shout out to all the ensemble members too. So let's talk about my ratings. I don't do like a 5-point scale or number scale. Instead, I just kind of think very simply, would I recommend this to a friend? And would I see this again myself? And then if the answer is yes, would I see this myself again, a second time or even a third time? Would I be willing to pay full price for this? Is that good enough to pay full price? Or would I see this again, like in a lottery or rush situation, maybe even TKTS? So, like I said, if you can get past Aaron Tveit not being a baritone, but you still want to see a really beautiful performance, both acting and singing, you want to see Sutton with, I think, a very decent accent and a lot of physical comedy and just regular comedy, then go see it. If you're looking for like a truly like good love story, Sweeney Todd is not is not the musical you want. So again, I've seen things online about like they don't seem like they're in love. I think it's a relationship of happenstance and a relationship of give and take and kind of fulfilling each other's needs as far as like having a place to live and having food and money coming in. I don't think it was ever meant to be like a big love story. With that said, you have about 12 weeks to go see them. If you do, let me know in the comments what you think, and I'll try to do another review soon.